I made this simple rock, paper, scissors game on CodePen last week using only HTML and CSS. You pick one, the computer will pick one at the same time, and you can see who won. The computer's selection is completely random, so you must be wondering, how is this even possible with just CSS? For randomness, you need some JavaScript, right? Mostly yes, but with one hack, you can do it using only CSS. Stick with me for the next couple of minutes to learn that hack. This video is sponsored by Limey, where you can create a beautiful one-page website for yourself within minutes. If you have multiple social accounts or links that you'd like to showcase in one place, this is a great tool. You can even add a form for people to contact you directly, all this for free. Yes, you can add up to 3 pages in the free tier. I personally use Limey for all my social links, courses, and info products. You can find it in my Twitter bio. Do try it out for yourself. Alright, I'm starting with a black canvas. Let's add a heading, rock, paper, scissors. Let me just add some general styling, padding to rem, text align center. And for the H1, let me just add some color, a nice blue. Now we have 2 players. One is you, that is the user, and the other is the computer. So let's display the player's choices within some div here. That would be the actual game. So let me add it within a game div. The first div is for you with the choice, your choice, and the second div will be the computer, and the choice will be within a circle here. We will style that soon, and that will be the computer's choice. And then let's add another div just to show versus. Now this should be displayed next to each other, so let's add a nice flex box here, game, display flex, justify, content, center. Let's add a gap of about 4 rem and align items, baseline, so that we have all the text in one single line. And now your choice and the computer choice will be blank circles. So something like width 6 rem, height 6 rem, border solid 1 pixels, #999. And to actually see what it looks like, let me add a sample rock here. And let's turn it into a circle using border radius 3 rem, font size about 4 rem. Yeah, we need a line height to align it vertically. I guess about 7 rem should do. Right, this is perfect. Let me remove this. And now down here, let's allow the user, that is you, to choose from rock, paper, or scissors. And let's do that in another div. Call it choices. And let's say pick one. Let's add some span elements for now. One is rock, one is paper, and one for scissors. Okay, yeah, it's too small right now, but it's okay. We'll change that. Now the player will have to pick any one of these, right? So the choice can easily be a radio input, and each of these will be labels for those radio inputs, right? So let's add 3 radio inputs. Input type equals radio. Name can be anything, maybe RPS, rock, paper, scissors, and ID, one for rock, one for paper, and one for scissors. So change these spans into labels. Label for rock, label for paper, and then label for scissors. Okay, so now when you pick any one of these, one of the input buttons will be checked. Great, let's just increase the font size of this label before we do anything else so we can see it clearly. Label font size, say 2 rem. Okay, now clicking on one of these, that particular choice should reflect within the use circle, right? How do we do that? We can use the radio input checked state along with the sibling selector in CSS to make changes to this element, that is the your choice element. But to use the sibling selector, the radio button should be present before this div. You can read more about CSS sibling selector. You can select the next sibling, any of the next siblings in the DOM. But for that, you can't select a previous sibling. That's why what we'll do is we'll leave the labels right here, but only the inputs, let's cut them and add them at the top here. So then we will be able to select the sibling of this game and its child your choice, and we can modify it. Let's see how to do that. So if our input rock is checked, right? So the check state of this input, if it is checked, then select its sibling game and its child your choice. And now we cannot add any content to this div directly, but we can add content to the before pseudo element, which is again, it gives the same result. So here we can just say content and we can add the rock right here. So now if you select rock, this input is checked and it's using the sibling selector, we're able to put the content here. Let's do the same thing for paper and scissors as well. Just have to change this to paper and this to scissors. Okay, so now whichever you pick, that will reflect in your choice. Great. Now what if you want to clear the input? To reset the game, we can use a reset button. So right down here, let's add an input type equals, button type equals reset. And let's call it play again. So that whenever we click on this play again button, both these choices will be cleared, all the input buttons will be unchecked and the game is reset. But for this button to work on these input elements, all of this should be within a form. That's okay. Let's just add a form. We don't need any action. Just have to wrap everything within the form. Okay, now let's just select something and let's try to play again. Yeah, as you can see, it resets. All right. Now comes the most crucial part of this game. The user's choice is straightforward, radio inputs and sibling selector. But how do we pick a random object for the computer each time? There's no such function in CSS, right? So here comes the common hack in most CSS games. Let's get to that. Now listen carefully. For each choice of the user, the computer has 3 choices. So there are 3 possible combinations for every choice. If you select rock, there are 3 combinations. Rock, 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 paper, rock, scissors. And if you select paper, there are 3 combinations. If you select scissors, there are 3 combinations. So in total, there are 9 possible combinations. Rock, 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 paper, rock, scissors, paper, rock, paper, paper. You get it, right? So instead of having 3 radio inputs, we should actually have 9 radio inputs. It doesn't make any sense for now, but just stick with me. So instead of this, it should be rock, rock, paper, rock, or rather rock, paper, and then rock, scissors, copy this 2 more times. This would be paper, rock, paper, 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 scissors, and then scissors, rock, scissors, paper, scissors, scissors, where I'm just using this to represent that this is your choice, this is computer's choice, and if your choice is paper and computer's choice could be any one of these, but basically these are the 9 possible combinations. Let's change the labels also accordingly. It would be rock, rock, and then copy this 2 more times, rock, paper, and rock, scissors. This will be rock itself because your choice is rock and this is what you're choosing, right? So that's what will reflect. You click on any one of this, we'll change this. Rock will be displayed here. Then 3 times, this would be paper, rock, paper, paper, and then paper, scissors. Lastly, scissors, rock, might be a little confusing, scissors, paper, and then scissors, scissors. Alright, so now clicking on any one of these, you can see that the associated radio button is clicked. Let's change the sibling selector thing to reflect it correctly now. So this would be rock, rock, and also we'll have to add the other 3 radio inputs. So rock, paper, and rock, scissors. You select any one of these, your choice will be rock itself. See, play again, this, play again, this. Okay, we'll get to the computer choice in a minute. Same thing has to be repeated for paper as well. Right, so paper, rock, paper, 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 scissors. All of this. Let's do the same thing with scissors as well. Scissors, rock, scissors, paper, scissors, scissors. Okay, so now your choice is straightforward again. Okay, now what about the computer choice? If you check rock, rock, then the computer choice content should be rock itself, right? So it's the same thing. And then if your choice is paper but the computer's choice is rock, you will again see this itself. Or if your choice is scissors, so in these 3 cases, the computer choice will be rock itself. Let's just check that. So play again. Let's say, yeah, so you pick this or you pick scissors, but computer chooses rock. We will randomize this. Just stay with me for some more time. Once we complete this logic, we'll get to that. And similarly, copy this 2 more times, change this to paper instead. Paper, paper, and then change this to scissors, scissors, scissors. Content will be scissors and the content here will be paper. Okay, let's just test it one last time. You click on this, yes, rock and paper. You click on the last one, scissors, scissors, play again. That's great. Now the main thing we need to do here is overlap all these rock into one single rock using position absolute and Z index, and then keep animating the Z index randomly so fast that whenever the user hovers on it, it's a completely random selection out of these 3. Still confused? Just watch it. So here, let me add all these 3 labels within a div. And I'll do the same for the other 3 labels as well. And the last 3 set. So now each of these labels within the div needs to be positioned on top of each other. That can be done by saying, let me just put this within here. So the div within choices needs to have position relative. Let me add that here. Choices div will have position relative so that the label can have position absolute. This of course needs to have a width and a height, and then let's add the same styles, that is border solid 1 pixels, and then border radius, also line height of maybe 2.2 rem, or I think this should be 3 rem, slightly bigger. And this can be 3.5 rem. So now position absolute in set 0 will make it occupy the complete div. Alright, now these three have to be in the center next to each other. Can be easily done using Flexbox. Choices, display flex, justify content center, gap of 1 rem. Okay, now that the labels are on top of each other, this will have a lower z index because it comes earlier and this comes later, so this has a higher z index. Now all these three will be on the topmost, so no matter what you select, the computer will select scissors, right, because of the order in which we have written it. All we need to do now is add a keyframe to loop the z index from 1 to 3 continuously and play it infinite number of times. Okay, if you don't know much about keyframes, don't worry, it's still simple to follow. Add keyframes, call it loop, and let's say it starts from z index 1 to z index 3, and this loop animation has to be added to the label using the animation property, animation loop, and then I want this animation to happen very, very fast so the user is not able to play around with this, or the user should not be able to hack the game. So let's add it like for 0.3 seconds and infinite number of times. So within 0.3 seconds, the z index goes from 1 to 3 for all three labels. But it has to happen with a delay. That is, when the first label nth of type 1, right? When the first label has the z index 1, the other, or rather when the first label has a z index of 3, the other two should have a z index below that. That can be done using animation delay. So let's say the animation delay of the first one is 0 seconds. But for the other two labels, that is for the second one, I'll add a delay of 0.1 seconds, and the last one I'll add a delay of 0.2 seconds. So that way all three of them are juggling with the z index 1, 2 and 3. So now you see, you're able to see the radio inputs. Just see that each one is differently highlighted each time. So it's randomly highlighted, and now when I click on any of these, the choice is totally random. Okay, because it happens so fast. By the time you hover the mouse, it's definitely past 1 second. It changes in fraction of a second. Okay, so this is how you do randomness, you achieve randomness in CSS. So most of our game is complete. All we need to do now is add some styling and of course show the result, right? To show the result, let me add a result div here. And then both of these result and the reset button should be hidden to start with. Only after you select something, it should appear, right? So what we do is, where the where is, okay, I've not added any styles for the button, so let's add the styles for the button now. Let's add some margin. Let's add some margin top and let it be in the center. Let me add a background color, the same one as the title, and change the text color to white. Border 0, padding something like this, and then some rounded corners, border radius 5 pixels. Okay, and to start with, let's give this display none, but when any of the input radio buttons are checked, if any of them is checked, then using the sibling selector, I'll just say button display block. Okay, so now if I check one of these, I should be able to see the button. The moment I click on this, it's gone. Let's also add cursor pointer. Okay, and the same with the result also. So the result div, let's say the result div has a display none rule first, and on clicking one of these, it'll show up here. So for result, let's just give some background color, some light gray, just a little bit amount of padding, and some margin top of 2 rem. Yeah, so that's where it's going to get displayed. Now to fill the result, if we have the, yeah, so you know the rule, right? If it's rock, then the result is tie. If it's paper, it's tie. So we just have to, type these. Let's do that. So if the selection is rock, then result before content is it's a tie. The same thing with paper, and then scissors and scissors. So now change that for you win and paste it again for you lose, and change this. So you win when your selection is rock, but the computer's selection is scissors. Your selection is paper, computer's selection is rock. Your selection is scissors, computer's selection is paper. And then you lose when your selection is rock, but the computer's selection is paper, and this is scissors, this is rock. Okay, let's test this out. Oh, sorry, yeah. You lose because you have rock and the computer has scissors. Do you lose? Did I just miss something? Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot adding checked here. If you spotted that before, great, amazing, because in all cases it would have shown you lose, because that's the last rule, right? Okay, so this should work. Yeah, you have chosen rock, computer has chosen scissors, so you win. You've chosen paper, computer has chosen scissors, you lose. You chose scissors, computer chooses rock, so you lose, and so on. You can add some more styling to this, like let's say you can change the color here to brown to say you lose, and then add a sad smiley. Here you can add a happy smiley and set the color to maybe dark green, and here you can just leave it as it is. Right, that's great. Of course, the play again is not required, but for the user experience, I have added the play button. You can simply go on selecting like this, but play again gives a little delay. The last thing I want to do is obviously hide these input buttons. Should have done it much before. Input type equals radio, display none. Alright, so now you have learned a lot in this. It's a very simple game, but of course it can be done a lot easier using JavaScript. But you would have never heard about this animation and keyframes and creating randomness in CSS, right? So I hope you found this a little challenging. Do share it ahead if you loved it. Thank you for watching. Hit a like and share this video ahead. If you enjoyed watching this, don't forget to subscribe below and turn on the notifications so you won't miss a single video from Tyrus.